everyone, it's Amy, one of your registered dietitians. Welcome back to another virtual Kids Cook at Home cooking class. Today we are making two recipes and they're both using oats. Our first recipe is our oatmeal carrot cake bread, and our second recipe is our banana peanut butter energy bites. Great recipes, but of course, before we get started, we need to go ahead and wash our hands. Alright, so to start off with our oatmeal carrot cake bread, I have preheated the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we're going to go ahead and get most of our wet ingredients together, and then we'll go ahead and bring in the dry. There's one important step at the very beginning. Even though oats are not considered a wet ingredient, we are going to use them in this first part. So the very first step is to take 1 cup of oats, put them in a medium mixing bowl, and then we're going to add a half a cup of milk to that. You can just stir it together a little bit with your spatula. And then we're actually just gonna let this sit for just a few minutes. So we'll wait a few minutes and then we'll come back. All right, so it's been a few minutes. We let our oats soak in that milk. Now we're going to add the rest of our wet ingredients. So we're actually going to add in 1 8-ounce can of crushed pineapple, and we want juices and all. So add that in there. Okay, next we're going to add 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. One teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then last but not least, we're gonna crack 2 eggs. And as always, anytime we crack eggs or we're touching raw meat or eggs, we just need to be sure that we're washing our hands. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just get this mixed up. You want the eggs to be fairly well beaten, but just go ahead and mix it with a spatula. It should be quite watery, because remember, this is all of our wet ingredients. And once it's well mixed, we're just gonna set this off to the side. I'm gonna take away these ingredients and I'm gonna bring back all of the other ingredients, which are the dry ingredients. So we'll go ahead and get our table reset. All right, so we have our wet ingredients set off to the side. We're gonna go ahead and take another mixing bowl, one that's probably a little bit larger, and we're going to add together our dry ingredients. So first we're going to use 1.5 cups of flour. All right, then I'm going to use 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. Make sure you really pack it in there. All right. Next, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Be sure you know the difference between baking powder and baking soda. All right. Then we're going to use a half a teaspoon of baking soda. So we're gonna do 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna do a little bit from my salt shaker. Now is where the carrots come in. So I like to buy shredded carrots when I make recipes like this. So we're gonna add about 1.5 cups. So here's what mine looks like. As you can see, it's all coated in the flour mixture. So what I'm going to do next is just kind of put away some of my ingredients, and then we'll go ahead and put our wet ingredients into our dry. All right, the last step in this recipe is to mix our wet ingredients with our dry. So again, we have the dry ingredients here, we have the wet ingredients that we had made earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour all of that into the dry. Set that off to the side. And then this is where we're just gonna take our time and mix it well. You don't wanna over mix it, but you wanna be sure that there's no dry spots left. Everything should be a little bit damp. All right, so it's all mixed. There's no dry spots. So now we're just gonna take our 2 loaf pans. We'll just carefully divide out the batter between the 2, and then we're gonna go ahead and bake it at 350 degrees for about 45 to 55 minutes. Always be sure that you're checking to be sure it's all the way done by using a toothpick. If it comes out clean in the center, then you're good to go. All right guys, we're back with our second recipe. We have our carrot cake, oatmeal bread in the oven, and this is the perfect time to make our peanut butter banana energy bites. There's no cooking and no baking involved, so this will be a great quick recipe to make while those are baking. So we're going to start off, of course, by washing our hands, and then we'll go ahead and get into this quick, easy recipe. All right, the first step that we're going to do in this recipe is we are actually going to mash our bananas. So the recipe calls for about 1 cup of mashed bananas. It's about the same as 2 bananas. If you have some bananas that are starting to get a little bit brown, this is a great way to use them as well. So just go ahead and peel them, pop them in your mixing bowl, and then we'll go ahead and start mashing them. So I'm just gonna mash them with a fork. If you wanna use a whisk, you can do that as well. You can also mash these off on the side in a smaller bowl if you'd like, or on a plate. All right, so we have our mashed bananas, and to that we are going to add 2.5 cups of oats. Then we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of honey. If you don't have honey, you can also use, maple syrup. Then we're going to add about 1/4 cup of peanut butter. A little extra peanut butter, but that's how I like it. All right, so we've got our peanut butter in there. And then last but not least, we are going to add in about 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And now we're just gonna keep mixing. All right, the next step is we're just going to take a spoon and we're going to roll them into about, they're gonna be about the size of a quarter, some little balls. We're gonna go ahead and put them in a bowl, and then we'll go ahead and let them refrigerate for about 30 minutes or so. And then of course, keep them in the refrigerator until you're ready to enjoy. All right guys, the bread is done. We took it out of the oven. We used a toothpick to be sure that it came out clean, so we knew it was done all the way through. We let it sit on the oven, just on the stove top, to cool down in the pans just a little bit, and then we're gonna transfer it to a cooling rack, and you can let it cool for about an hour, and then of course slice it up and it's ready to serve. The no-bake energy bites are banana peanut butter energy bites. They're ready. They've been in the fridge for a little bit. Again, a great easy snack. You can keep them in the refrigerator as well. Otherwise, I personally love keeping mine in the freezer. So it keeps them a little bit longer. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's recipes. Always check back on our website at celebratemore.com/kidscookathome for upcoming classes. And as always, we love seeing your photos. So share them with us on social media, tag us, and use #KidsCookAtHome. See you guys next time.